After The Flash ran its last lap, there were only two: Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights. One show featuring one of the premier DC heroes and his just as famous wife. And then the other one, the table scraps of the Bat family and some new character they made up. Which one would CW choose? Superman and Lois or Gotham Knights?
What the fuck is Gotham Knights? I already hate it.
Good.
Welcome back to the Out of Touch podcast. I'm Chris, that's Bill, and today we are watching Superman and Lois, Season 3, not the final season. So, Bill.
Good thing.
What did you think of Superman and Lois, Season 3?
It's still consistently the best superhero show out there.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's funny, it's like one of the few network TV shows I watch, which means it takes a while to finally air all the episodes, but They got through this season pretty good, and it ended in a pretty epic way, I want to say. But where do you want to start talking about this show? Because, I guess there's some, obvious things we should mention, new Jonathan Kent.
Yeah, right off the bat, we should probably talk about that. Jonathan Kent's got a new face all of a sudden.
The actor that they got to play him is, pretty good. He even looks like the other actor.
A little bit. He almost looks like that other guy hit the gym.
Yeah, it's almost like you can't even tell the difference. It's you look and it's just wait a minute, is that a new actor? It's just
I'm not gonna lie, the first few episodes, I would think back on what happened to the episode, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm still picturing the other Jonathan.
Yeah, it was a pretty seamless change, which is hey, see that, Disney? You could just recast people and not make computer generated versions of them, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But,
yeah, it's weird that the other guy left the show under kind of odd circumstances.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the new Jonathan fared well, more or less.
Yeah, it was good. It was, pretty good. And, no complaints, no, whoa, why is Jonathan so different now?
Why is his hair color different? He's 3 feet taller and has, I don't know.
And is trying so hard to do an American accent.
Yeah, that too. That could be a thing. Because sometimes I feel when they recast characters on shows, they just it looks so different that you're just that it's so jarring, to keep it in the world of Superman. Growing up, I didn't know that season 1 of Lois and Clark had a different Jimmy Olsen. It was years before I probably ever knew that, because he does not look anything like the other guy. He looks so different.
That's so weird. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they recast Jimmy Olsen after the first season, in part because I think they just looked at the guy you look too much like Dean Cain. You need Jimmy's got to be a dweeb. What have we done? What have we done here?
Yeah, well, I guess as we know, Superman and Lois officially not in the Arrowverse now.
Yes, it's been much like Doom Patrol before, which divorced itself from Titans. Superman and Lois is now fully divorced from the Arrowverse.
Yeah. Although this universe has a version of Diggle that shows up.
Not this season.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think he was in this season.
No. Budget cuts.
Yeah. Yes. But where do you want to start, Bill? Because, I'm sure we can't talk about, all 16 episodes or 13 episodes.
There's only 13 this time.
Yeah. 13. It's shorter each time.
Yes, because next season's 10.
Yeah.
Cliff Notes version, at the start of the season, Lois is investigating Bruno Mannheim, who we find out previously, courtesy of other Diggle, is probably responsible for the death of this Earth's John Henry Irons. So she's kind of helping John Henry investigate, because Bruno is apparently her white whale, because as we later find out, Lex Luthor's been in prison for 17 years.
Which is an insane amount of years to be in prison.
Yes.
And we'll get to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And while she's investigating, she talks to this universe's John Henry's sister, who's a doctor, and to get in there, she makes an appointment. And I honestly figured she would have just made up some symptoms, but she gave some real symptoms. And at first, she thinks she's pregnant, and which Lois and Clark are like, "Oh my God, a baby! This is great! This is yay!"
Yeah.
And then it's not a baby.
Yeah.
It's cancer.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the real main thread of the season, at least for Lois.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing Superman can't save her from, which is inherently kind of interesting.
Yeah. Like, they even, like, bring up, like, this stuff, like, you know, Lois's father is just like, why don't you use, like, Kryptonian technology to help her? And it's just like, it's not really meant for humans.
Well, they don't really say that. She just says, we tried. My hologram mom says it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But a simple, like, more detailed line of, like, look, the technology in the fortress, the medical technology and knowledge, it's all based on Kryptonian physiology.
Yeah.
It can't help Lois. She's human. Yeah. It could maybe help Jonathan and Jordan because they're sort of part Kryptonian.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fine that tech couldn't help her because they just wouldn't.
Yeah. Which makes sense because, like, you know, you can't really do a cancer story if it's just like, I'll cure you with alien technology, better.
Get in the crystal chamber. It'll hit you with anti-cancer beams.
Yeah.
And then it's like, then the story all of a sudden becomes Lois, like, saying, like, honey, I'm sorry, but I have to expose you to the world. Superman's been hiding cancer cure for years.
Oh, man.
Then it takes a different turn.
Yeah, that's another wrinkle. Yeah, you know, for the most part, it does like a cancer story. It's, I guess, like, kind of accurate, kind of not accurate in some ways. Like,
and as someone who's never dealt with that stuff directly, I have no firsthand knowledge.
I know a little bit. I've had family members, you know. It's weird that she doesn't lose all her hair.
I saw an interview with Elizabeth Tulloch talking about that. She was like 100% ready to go with that, but they were like, yeah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Supposedly, like, in the earlier episodes, she's kind of wigged up a little bit to make her hair look a little thicker so that at least seems like it's thinned out a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, in real life, you
would lose all your hair.
It would all fall out with the chemo.
Yeah, especially with how many chemo treatments she did.
Yeah.
I guess they did an okay job at, like, communicating because, like, you know, with chemo treatments, it's not like you get one and then you have to wait like a month before you get another one, and depending on what your treatment is, you have to go for like a certain amount of times for chemo. So it sucks. It's like you get the chemo, you feel horrible just when you start feeling better, then you get the chemo again. So it's like a vicious recovery. So, you know, I don't know, like, Lois seemed to have like a little too much energy at some points, like being on chemotherapy.
You know, it's a hard thing to completely convey because, you know, but she does stay like bedridden and stuff. It's a tightrope.
Yeah.
But whilst she's doing that, she decides to continue her investigation of Bruno Mannheim because he runs a very large, well-funded cancer treatment facility, and she wonders, like, what the hell's in it for him?
Yeah.
There's one thing in it for him. He's trying to save his wife's life, as we find out, because she meets a woman named Pia there, who turns out to secretly be Onomatopoeia, who's a Green Arrow villain.
Yeah.
Who's very different, because in the comics, Onomatopoeia is just a hitman with a weird quirk of saying sound effects. This is like full-on, like, can mimic sounds and ultra Black Canary powers, too, which is kind of interesting. It helps her, you know, fight Superman a little bit.
I forget, did they ever say how she had her powers, or was it just like, she's just a metahuman?
She's just some kind of metahuman.
Yeah.
It's not really relevant, honestly.
Okay.
The only people we learn about the origins of their powers are a couple of people that Bruno Mannheim gave powers because they were like dying people, and he was trying to cure their death as like test subjects, because we get the return of the season 1 flashback villain Atom Man, except now he's got powers, and him and Superman have a fun little fight in the first episode of the season.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that and having watched an episode of The Flash the day before, and I'm like, every time the show puts that show to shame.
Yeah.
More so, especially this year, because the last season of The Flash was bad. It had like 2 good episodes, and the rest of it was pretty bad.
I mean, one could argue The Flash has been bad since like season 3.
It's ebbed and flowed.
Okay.
It was just consistently not good.
Wow.
Like, shockingly not good. And then limped to the finish line.
Yeah.
Like the box office of the Flash movie.
Oh.
Not a good year to be the Flash.
Well, that show got like 9 seasons.
Oh, look, they had a fantastic run in terms of episode count. And that first season's still great. There's still good stuff after the first season, but just a very lackluster ending.
Yeah.
They got an ending, though. So
yeah,
it's more than a few other shows in that continuity.
True. Like Legends of Tomorrow,
Yep.
who is just, they're in jail.
Forever.
That's how it ended.
Absolutely. They deserved it.
Story over. But yeah, I guess with these like CW shows, not really the case anymore, it sounds like, but they kind of would stick around a little too long. But this show seems like it's like you get one more and then that's it.
I mean, we don't know for sure, but most people seem to think it'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
Because of the CW's new owners, all the weird stuff happening with Warner Brothers. So I'm like, look, we get a 10-episode final season with Lex Luthor as the main villain, and it's really good, and it ends on a high note. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have liked the show to go on a little longer, but if I got 4 great seasons of a Superman show, I can't complain, really.
Yeah. I mean, like, they just kind of, like, jump around. Like, I guess, like, my only peeve with this show is, like, it seems like no matter what season it is, it's like he's always fighting an evil version of Superman. The first season is his brother. Then the next season is Bizarro.
For part of it, yes.
And then this season is like mostly Bruno Mannheim, but then it's like Bizarro turned into Doomsday. And I'm like, really? We're doing evil Superman again?
Tyler Hoechlin's Superman only fights Superman. Don't you know this?
I know.
It's weird.
It's weird. It's like he's really good at Superman, and I'd like to see him
fight other villains.
Yeah.
Look, we got Lex Luthor coming.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not coming. He's here.
Yeah.
He's here, and he's wrecking house.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for the most part, I think the show is really good. You know, some of the teenage drama I can do without.
I didn't mind like the stuff early on with Jonathan and his girlfriend and her dad, if only because I kind of liked. Like Lois he hits Jonathan. Lois confronts him. He threatens Lois, and then Clark's just like.
Yeah, that was okay. Even some of the stuff with John Henry's daughter, I was like, okay, that was fine. But like,
and you kind of see that it's going to tie into the main plot.
Yeah, but the stuff with like Jordan and like Lana's daughter is just like.
Yeah, that really flatlined this season.
I'm like,
that was the weakest part of the show.
This is like stupid and boring and like so angsty for some reason.
You know what's but you know what's good? It's it's unfortunate that people lost their jobs, but hey, guess who we don't have to see next season?
Yeah, I guess that plot is over.
I mean, she might show up for a couple episodes, but they won't have to give her something to do every week.
Yeah, but like it was not just like that character. It was like, it was just like the whole like stupid situation, which was like, I don't want to be with you, Jordan, and then Jordan being like, I'm mad now, and then like. I mean,
it's weird because like it felt like they were rekindling at the end of season 2, and then they're just not in this season. I mean, credit to Jonathan. He managed to not get a random different but suspiciously similar girl to be his girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's the same character, though. I'm assuming just for budgetary and the fact that she wasn't a main character, they were just like, we got to write her out in a way that we don't write her out, but explain why she's not always there.
Yeah. It was kind of funny where it's like, oh yeah, that girl lives in their house now.
For one episode.
Yeah.
That didn't last very long.
That's true.
And then now she's just like in another part of Kansas, and she shows up occasionally.
Yeah.
And why she's not always around? Because she's not. I did like the idea of Jonathan pursuing becoming a firefighter.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting because, that sense of being a hero, it's ingrained in the Kent family.
Yeah. It works well. It's like Jonathan is actually more of like, the noble son, but he doesn't have the powers.
Whereas Jordan's developing a bit of an ego.
Yeah. He's kind of like, look at this shit I can do. I can lift a green car just like my dad.
Pretty much.
I mean, he doesn't do anything too crazy. He has this like Superboy suit that they introduce, which is like, okay.
It's loosely based on a suit I've seen in the comics. I don't know the context for it though, but...
Didn't one of the animated movies have Superman in a suit like that too?
Yeah, what was it?
Like Man of Tomorrow?
Yeah, like a proto suit like that. There's a comic that had something similar too, where it was like a proto suit with like goggles and stuff.
Yeah.
I do like that the goggles were like Sam's like father's as a fighter pilot. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice touch.
I like the suit. They should give it the S. They should give John Henry's suit the S. They never do.
And they never will.
Yeah. I mean, John Henry's suit is what it is.
Even if we see John Henry next season, they're not spending the money to put the S on it.
Yeah.
They gotta watch their dollars.
I mean, we'll see what happens next season. They might save up all the budget for like the final action scene, kind of
like they did here.
Yeah,
because we get some sporadic action in the early episodes, then it kind of disappears. We get a little here, a little there, and then just whoa.
Yeah, it's more like Superman, the family drama. And then also sometimes Superman like flies to like Metropolis and tells like Bruno Mannheim, "I'm watching you.
Stop it."
Yeah.
Stop it. And Bruno's like, "No.
I know you're a bad, bad man. But
It's like, yeah,
can't
what?
prove that you're a bad man."
I can't remember what season he was in, but he was also a similar-ish bad guy in Arrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, was it Tobias Church was the name, I think? I forget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, it's cool that, they introduced Intergang in this season. They didn't really have too much like high-tech weapons and stuff. And
no, their whole focus seems to be on trying to cure the cancer and experimenting on people. And they get a hold of Bizarro's body.
Yeah.
You keep checking in on that every now and then.
Yeah, and I guess like the main thing that like Bruno did that was like bad was like, besides for like experimenting on people, he was just like a straight up like gangster, and that's how he got like most of his money. And
we find out that when him and Pia were falling in love, they took over Intergang after she killed everybody, and then they framed Lex Luthor.
Yeah. Is it time to talk about Lex Luthor yet? Or
not
what
quite.
else to mention?
I mean, obviously the main story of the season is the Bruno Mannheim Pia stuff, and that ends in rather dramatic fashion. He's more of an enemy of, like, he has confrontations with Superman a couple times, but he's more of an enemy of Lois and John Henry.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting that he kind of, once his wife passes away, he kind of just goes along peacefully.
Yeah.
Like, he makes a deal that he confesses to everything because he wants to protect his son, because he convinced his son to inject his mother with what they hoped would be something that would save her life, but ultimately it only set it back.
Made her go like haywire.
It just kind of stabilized her for a little bit, and then it just didn't work ultimately.
Yeah.
And she went haywire, and then just had to let go. And in order to protect his son, it's like, just absolve him of everything. I'll confess to everything. He gets Luthor out of prison because of that.
Yeah.
And boy, is he mad.
I got it wrong, and
I was innocent! 17 years of my life gone! And you think I want words?
This Lex Luthor is interesting, and I've never seen this actor before, but he does remind me of like Clancy Brown a little bit, like visually, and he kind of has that voice, but it's just like, I don't know how to describe him except for like heavy metal Lex Luthor.
I mean, this is a man who's been, even though he took over the prison relatively quickly, he's still been behind bars for something he didn't even do. And he's just been stooling away, getting madder and madder about it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting because as soon as he gets out, he's just revenge.
He's like, I'm gonna walk to the Kent's farm to like confront Lois Lane.
I'm gonna say,
what I want is to never have to read your words again.
You would have, if she just like retired right then and there, never wrote an article again, he'd been like, good.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to ever hear your voice ever again.
But then it's just like, oh, you're still writing? See, I have to kill you now. But I have to kill other people to get it to you. So I'll kill Superman. I'll probably kill your dad. Who knows? He might not be in the next season, so he's probably dead.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, man, as soon as that lady, it was like a minute or 2 minutes into that scene with her, I'm like, wait a minute. She's working for Luthor.
Yeah.
Run, Sam! Oh, no, he's probably, oh, no. And then I kept thinking about like how I heard that he's turned down an offer to come back. I mean, maybe something could change. They got time. There's a writer's strike. Nothing's happening. Nothing's really set in stone at this point.
That's true.
So he could come back, maybe. But if not, holy shit, he's probably dead.
Oh, man. Lex Luthor seems pretty cool. Like, there's the scene in the prison where he takes over and he's sitting on top of one of the inmates because
he
fucking Lex Luthor, and he's just like, I'm going to use a person as my chair.
You know what I thought they were going to do? And they haven't. They could still. I thought maybe Luthor was like, because he would have to know at this point that Bruno Mannheim was responsible for framing him.
Yeah.
I figured he would also have him killed.
Yeah.
Like maybe he's headed to a courthouse, gets in a police thing, and it just blows up or something.
Maybe.
I'm just saying that's a Luthor thing. Scorched. This Lex Luthor's all scorched earth. He does not care.
Yeah. It's interesting because we know this Lex Luthor has a company. We know he was still making money while in prison.
Yes, so he's still incredibly rich.
We don't know the nature of his company. It
owns an airline.
Yeah, it's like he's definitely smart, but we don't know if he's like super genius smart where he's gonna like make like a mech suit to fight Superman. It's sort of like he's, I don't know, kind of just going off of like, I don't know, intuition and just being like brutal.
I mean, he seemed to figure out Bizarro can be resurrected, and whatever doesn't kill him only makes him stronger, which slowly turns him into a version of Doomsday, which is interesting because now this is the 4th live-action version of Doomsday we've gotten. 3 of them have been on television.
Yes.
Every single one of them has been Kryptonian. Because he's not Kryptonian in the comics. Because we had, the first Doomsday we ever got was from Smallville.
Right.
And he was played by that Sam Witwer guy, but he was kind of like a weird turns into Doomsday, like a Hulk kind of situation. But I think he was also Zod's son.
Okay.
Then we had, of course, Batman vs. Superman Doomsday, which was just Zod's corpse resurrected and turned into that. And then the Krypton Doomsday, which visually I think is still the best Doomsday, where he was a Kryptonian with like a interesting gene that they could exploit because they resurrect him, and every time he got resurrected, whatever killed him previously couldn't kill him this time, so they were like decapitating and burning him, doing all sorts of horrible shit to him.
It's kind of similar to the way Doomsday is in the comics.
Yeah, like that aspect is there. But once again, it's just like, oh, Doomsday is just always a Kryptonian. In this case, a Bizarro Kryptonian.
Yeah.
This is like a weird Bizarro Doomsday. It's kind of, I guess, partially inspired by that weird Superman Doom book where it was like Superman turned into a Doomsday for some reason.
Oh, yeah, right.
So there's like that element to it to a degree.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it mostly just looks like Doomsday, but it's got the backwards S. Like, it's like part of him.
Yeah, he looks okay. I mean, he definitely looks better than, like, you know, the Batman v Superman Doomsday.
Wait, yeah, they just... More spikes, damn it.
Yeah, he needs more spikes. He needs, like, the spiky beard, and he needs the hair. Like, give him the hair. Like...
I don't need the hair.
Really?
I just need lots of spikes.
Yeah. I kind of would prefer the hair. Yeah, but...
I'm not big on the hair.
Looks okay.
And we get probably the craziest superhero fight I've seen on network television.
Well, before that, we got to talk about one thing.
What's that?
Lex Luthor turning Bizarro into Doomsday while playing his, like, cassette tapes.
You fixated on this quite a bit.
I don't know. It just seems so, like, weird and corny.
I didn't even notice it until you mentioned it.
Yeah, he has, like, cassette tapes.
He's been in jail for a long time.
I know, but, like, CDs were out when he went to jail.
He was a late adopter. I don't know.
It's just like I get like a lot of things with like records sound good, but I'm like cassettes don't sound good. What are you doing, Lex Luthor?
Dude, I don't know.
I know, but I just thought it was like kind of like corny. It was just like look at him playing his cassette tapes. But whatever. I mean, who's one to talk? I mean, I own like 1 million PlayStation 1 games, so and play them on the original system still. So, but yeah, I was just like, cassette tapes, really? So weird.
It's a vintage collection. What do you want from me?
I know. I just wonder, like, you know, some kids watching it and he's just like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, what are those things? What is he putting those things into? Wait, that plays music? What the hell is that thing? Why is it so big? Like, why isn't he playing music on his phone?
He was in jail. He doesn't have a phone.
That's true. He was in jail before smartphones.
Exactly. But he does have a daughter, apparently.
Yes. That's interesting. I wonder if she'll be like Lena Luthor or whatever. I know that's usually his sister, but...
We could retrofit her to be his daughter. It doesn't matter.
I do wonder if we'll see who is Mrs. Luthor.
Those feel like characters we could potentially see in the next season.
It'd be interesting if it was like Mercy Graves from like the cartoon or something.
No, but I could see Mercy showing up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be his wife or something. Probably just be a new character.
Probably.
Which is fine.
I want to see Lex Luthor shave his beard and put on the power suit.
Which power suit are we talking about?
We're talking about the power suit with the white tie and the vest and the jacket. I want him to look like Lex Luthor. I want to see a movie with Lex Luthor look like Lex Luthor again.
For the entire movie.
Yes.
Not 2 minutes before the credits roll.
Or I should say show. I mean, granted, Smallville Lex Luthor usually had a suit on.
Yes.
He was pretty good. But like that was like almost weird and prototype Lex Luthor just because it's like he died, but then he got
he got a bit Lex Luthor towards the end.
Yeah.
Like proper, like, I'm the bad guy, but I think I'm the good guy, but fuck everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like my beef with Superman is Superman saved the world and I was supposed to save the world. That egomaniac Lex Luthor that we haven't got to see in a long time, I feel.
Yeah, because there's a little bit of that in the John Cryer one, but
That's true.
neither of us really watched much of him because you stopped watching Supergirl after episode 1, and I stuck around for 3 seasons.
Yes.
Somehow.
I watched the crossovers.
Yeah.
He was good in that crossover, the John Cryer Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I saw some other clips of him that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, like, towards the end of Supergirl, but he had some good moments.
Yeah.
And he does have a moment where he, like, screams,
I was the man of tomorrow, not him! Not him!
Okay.
which I'm like, yes, that's Lex Luthor.
There we go. Well, I hope this one's good, but...
One thing I gotta say, because we're talking about Lex Luthor,
Yeah.
this is the 3rd TV Lex Luthor in a row we've gotten that has a beard. Because John Cryer, Lex Luthor, beard.
Yeah.
The Lex Luthor that showed up in one episode of Titans, beard. This Lex Luthor, beard. What's happening? Why does Lex Luthor have a beard
I don't
now? I'll take the beard over hair.
90s Lex Luthor with giant red hair, and I'm Lex Luthor's son from Australia or whatever.
No, I think it was Australia.
Okay.
Crikey.
Yeah, red hair Lex Luthor. Come on.
No.
Do it, cowards.
No. James Gunn, don't you dare.
Well, that's a long time away. They just cast Superman. I think the actor's name is David Cornsweet, but I don't know if I'm saying his last name correctly.
Well, we'll hear it eventually and get it
Yeah.
right. But then again, I've been hearing Gal Gadot's name for years, and I still can't get it right because everyone says it differently.
Yeah, Gadot.
She's like, it's actually gated? Huh.
Weird.
We're all wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, final battle. Superman versus Doomsday. Pretty epic.
Holy crap.
Yeah. It goes into space and
It ends on the moon.
yes.
This is the first time since Superman 4 he's fought someone on the moon. It looks a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. You know, when he was taking him up into space, I thought for a second, I was like, oh shit. Is this going to be Superman fights Doomsday on the sun? And then next season's going to be All-Star Superman?
See, what I thought was about to happen was similar to the Superman Doomsday animated movie, where Superman took Doomsday up into space and essentially pile drove him into the ground and killed them both.
Yeah.
So I figured this season really is going to end with Superman dying. But it didn't.
Oh. just ended with them fighting on the moon, and it's just like... Could you imagine if they canceled the show?
Oh my God.
It's like, this is the finale.
It's like, ah!
It's like the Rocky 3 ending.
I mean, it's so crazy. Like, they fight briefly in the air, they fight in the underwater, they fight underground. Superman tries impaling him on a building, and then Doomsday just starts pummeling the crap out of him. It's just full on.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, they watched their pennies in places this season, and this is why they did this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is cool, like, taking them to the moon, where it's just like, okay, now I don't need to worry about people, and
Yes.
go all out now.
Every instinct this Superman has tried to have, we saw it in the season premiere.
I could do this all day.
Not around them.
It's same mentality. He's like, I got to get this monster away from people.
Yeah.
Flies him into the sky, hits him in the water. Just like, Good.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of potential for next season. We'll see where it goes.
I think that, and this is just me speculating, this is how I think season 4 might open. I think it's going to open where we just see the Kent family living their lives, wherever, if they're still in Smallville, or if we find out, oh, they moved to Metropolis. And then we see just like a picture frame of Clark, and it's like, oh shit, he's dead.
Oh.
And then eventually in that episode, we cut back, and we see the end of the fight. And Superman, like, you could even have it where it's like, we didn't even have a body to bury because he's dead on the moon.
Oh, man.
He died on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah. They're living somewhere else, like Australia, and then Lex Luthor shows up with red hair, and he's like, crikey, boomerang, koala.
No, stop it.
Didgeridoo. But
oh my God.
We'll see what happens.
And it's just a thought. I mean, they got 10 episodes for season 4.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while before we get it because there's still that writer's strike.
Yeah.
And this show is always a springtime show anyway. So.
Yeah.
And
it might be like not next year, but the year after. It'll be weird. 2025. Superman the show.
I don't think it'll be that late, but it'll probably be later than when we got it this year.
Okay.
If it is the end, I think they could tell a pretty cool, I guess you could call it, final battle with Lex Luthor. I mean, just the fact that it's like, look, if this is the final season, having Lex Luthor as the main villain is cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's great, because it's Lex Luthor, he's Superman's arch enemy, and Tyler Hoechlin's been too separated from any Lex Luthor throughout his entire run as Superman. When he was playing the other Superman in the Arrowverse, he shared about 6 seconds of screen time with Lex Luthor, and I don't even think they had an actual interaction.
I think it would be cool if the next season does begin with the Doomsday fight, and it escalates where he goes to the sun and like defeats Doomsday by plunging him into the sun and becomes supercharged, and we do All-Star Superman, because Lex Luthor's kind of like the villain in All-Star Superman.
I mean, that'd be kind of interesting, because then you could have like that big final fight that they had in All-Star Superman at the end of the season.
Yeah, except like you make it so, like in the comic, Lex Luthor is just like a full bastard at the end. Instead of like sort of being redeemed like in the animated version. But we'll see, there's a lot of possibilities for the next season.
Not Brainiac.
No.
They can't afford that now.
Not Manchester Black or the Elite. Not,
Well, considering that rumors have it that the Authority might be in Superman Legacy, I think James Gunn's got some ideas that he's working through. Allegedly.
Remains to be seen.
It definitely does.
That's
in the future.
Yes. Yes. The hopes of a new universe with a slate of movies been announced. It's just like, I've seen this movie before. I've seen companies tell me all the future products they want me to buy, and then they make one and it doesn't do well, and then they're like, oh shit, no, wait a minute.
What do we do? I don't know. We'll take 7 years to make the Flash movie and use that to fix everything.
Yeah. In some ways, I'm just like kind of, maybe it's just because I'm older, but like they release these slates and I'm just like, don't tell me the movies I'm going to watch for the next 5 years, Warner Brothers. You make one and then maybe I'll be interested.
I mean, that's it. That's all they can do.
Yeah.
If Superman Legacy crashes out of the gate, like any of the recent DC movies, it's over.
I'd be more interested if it was like just like, yeah, it's just Superman. It's not like a universe thing.
It's not what James Gunn was hired to do.
I know, but like they did with the Batman, it's like it's just a Batman movie, and I'm like, cool. But this is like, it's Superman, but like everything else too. And I'm like, I don't need everything else.
It's funny how like Superman and Lois, when it premiered, we thought was part of a universe filled with all these other heroes.
Yeah.
And then just one day they're like, no, it's just Superman. And I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah. There's a lot of Superman characters we'll probably never see in Superman and Lois, unfortunately.
Supergirl.
Any of the people at the planet. Like
we saw Perry.
We did see Perry.
Yeah, we're definitely not seeing Jimmy. I don't think so. I guess he could show up.
What about Bibbo?
I want to see Bibbo.
I want to see Bibbo so badly in live action. Like,
He might have showed up in something like once.
Okay.
But I don't know what it was. But man, it'd be a fun like little thing to throw in it. Especially if they are in Metropolis more next season. Just throw it in there for one episode. That'd be fun.
Yeah, Superman knows Bibbo.
Yes. They go to Bibbo for information. They go to his diner or his bar or whatever.
I mean, it's amazing that we got to see Crypto in live action at least, and like Titans.
Yeah.
Like, he was a good boy, as he should be. But
yeah,
there's a lot of other Superman characters I'd like to see, you know.
I mean, this show has given us a few. We finally got a better John Henry Irons.
Yeah.
A version of his niece, Natasha, and Natalie.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a good show. It's a really good show. It's amazing that it's like a CW show.
It's the last one.
Yeah. It's kind of like baffling because it's like, it's right up there with like, you know, the beginning of Arrow and the beginning of Flash were like really incredible. And then I'll say Arrow for the most part stayed pretty consistent, but it did have like a noticeable drop in like season 4, but then it got good again. And the final season with the like flash forwards was a little and then Flash kind of just fell off a cliff for me. But this, I'm like, wow, I'm season 3 into the show and still interested, and that's a lot for these type of shows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how that they thought pairing this show up with Gotham Knights would be a good idea, because I'm like,
it's funny that they thought Gotham Knights would be a good idea.
I don't know how that show got on the air. Just look alone, it's like, who is this for?
Excuse me, did somebody find a show from 2001 and just like air it in 2023 for some reason? That's like, it just reminds me of like Birds of Prey or like some like dumb show like Generation X or whatever.
Seriously.
Like, I'm like, what? Like, this is modern? Are you sure?
I should show you the clip of their version of Two-Face.
No, I don't want to see it.
You're going to see it.
Yikes.
But the Arrowverse is gone. Gotham Knights is gone.
Yeah.
All that remains is Superman and Lois. The CW superhero run is bookended by Superman, apparently. Their first superhero show was Smallville.
Yes.
And their last superhero show is Superman and Lois.
Yeah. You know, it was a good season.
Yes, it was. Very dramatic, very heavy in places.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of,
like the Lois surgery part was like pretty, like, oh, geez. Like,
they didn't shy away from a lot of stuff.
That was one thing they didn't shy away from, was like that surgery and like showing
her self-esteem in that regard and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, that's rough.
And they had that moment of happiness in the final episode. I'm like, oh man, shit, Clark is definitely gonna die or something.
He's gonna die on the moon.
He might still, we don't know. Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So a lot of people compare that to like a Dragon Ball Z or something like that, because it just ends with them flying at each other.
It's really cool. And like, I can't like not like a show that like is just like, we're doing a big bombastic fight on the moon, motherfucker. Like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I guess that's the Out of Touch podcast for this week.
Watch Superman and Lois if you like Superman.
Yes.
It's a damn good show.
Tyler Hoechlin is pretty good as Superman.
He's one of the best.
Yeah. He's also a great hero and a great villain. Because he's Bizarro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he is Bizarro.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Superman fights himself. Again.
Sure. Yeah. He keeps doing that.
Yep.
It's both versions of Superman he's played.
Yeah.
Weird.
It is weird.
Stop fighting yourself, Tyler. Love yourself. Not in that way. Good night, everybody.